What's up, guys? Welcome back to Horror Movie Rewind. Welcome for the first time. If you've never done so before, really appreciate it if you go ahead and thump that subscribe button for me. Like as well.
Hope you like what you see.
So this video is a continuation of the last one that I posted, I guess yesterday at this point. I do recommend going back and watching it first. It's that guy right there, or maybe right there. Yeah, just click it, check it out. That way you know what's going on, and come on back to me. All right, so picking back up where I left off with the last video, Randy has absolutely been in on it since day one, since the first film, in my opinion. I already have two videos that I compiled evidence to show you about this very subject. So I'm not going to repeat any of the stuff I said there. If you're interested, go back. They're not hard to find. They basically say Randy was in on it. But I am going to show you a couple of clips from previous films that I didn't show before, B-sides if you will, but nonetheless still is important. I just want to do that real quickly, so bear with me, just so that I got some evidence to kind of anchor this with to get you on board. So yeah, this scene here is from the first film. It's the party at the Mocker house. It's right after Gail comes with Dewey, and you'll see the good host that he is, Stu Mocker, standing by the door with his like Hugh Hefner robe on. And as Gail and Dewey are walking in, Randy kind of circles around and preemptively, calls the fact that Gail's going to put a camera somewhere. Now, the scene, when they show it, he's in between Sidney and Dewey, so it makes it as if he's talking to them, but I don't think that's the case. He's looking right between them, and it would be exactly where Stu is at. Again, I think that Randy was third Ghostface at that point in time. He's in on it from the beginning.
Oh, thank you very much. You're so rude to me. Hey,
Camera.
I've already posted videos explaining why it makes nothing but sense for Randy to have been in on it with Stu and Billy in the first film. But like that scene right there, clearly, again, watch it. If you need to, rewind it, go back to it. He's talking to Stu Mocker. He says camera. Why the fuck would he say that to Sidney and Dewey? Because he didn't. He's telling Stu that so that when the plan is enacted, when things, are in motion, that he's aware of it, because Billy's not around. And that's pretty simple to me. There's no other reason for him to say that. This one from the second film is just a weird line. One of many in this scene, but again, I've already showed some of them, and I'm going to save some for later because we're going to get to the point of this video, I promise. But yeah, he answers the phone. I don't even know if it's his phone. I think it might have been Gail's. Who knows? But he says this.
You'll never find me. Yeah, what do you care? Let them have their fun.
Just odd. Well, what do you care? Let them have their fun. Again, there's a lot more from that scene one of these days. You have his only appearance in the third film, the videotape. A couple of things about that. One that I'm going to do a video about as well is there's something that it's a real theory called the brown eye, blue eye theory. But for some reason, Randy's got brown eyes in this video. Now, you could go down a rabbit hole, and we're going to one day, or at least I am. Hope you're there with me. But yeah, he's got brown eyes. But the last line in the video, this one here.
Good luck, Godspeed, and for some of you, I'll see you soon. Because I will say some of you ain't gonna make it.
You ever think about the fact that maybe Randy wasn't talking about holding hands in heaven? Maybe he was saying, for some of you, I'll see you soon, as in he's going to put that buck in that ass. Maybe not the ass, but yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of innuendo in these films, and that one right there, if you go back and listen to it, it's pretty cut and dry. Doesn't have to be that way, but that's not why you're watching Scream Theory videos on YouTube either, is it? Yeah, so that scene's kind of iconic, and there's a reason why I chose it to correlate it to Scream 7, and it's because the extended trailer that came out not long before the release of the film, at the very end of it, and I'm sure some of you caught this, you see this really bizarre scene right here. All right, I'm not even going to speculate on what the hell's going on with those hands. I have no fucking idea, right? Do notice that it's a videotape and has the same, white, like, tape to write titles on the side that you had in, 1996. Clearly, that is something that you automatically associate with Randy. Now, you could be, a red herring, but I did look back. I'm not a handwriting expert by any means, but if you look at this S, and that's from the original tape, and you compare it to the first letter of the last word on the new tape, that name could be three different things to me. It could say, I think a lot of people wanted it to say Jill, but you could also say Sid, possibly, because I'm leaning S, or it could say for Stu. And the reason why is because if you put that S and then the S from the first tape side by side, he has this weird S that he, the character, I suppose, writes, where it kind of overlaps off of the curve at the top. It's not necessarily proof of life for Randy, but just the fact that they showed that, and it was not in the film. Again, I watched it 5 times. If it was, then something's wrong with me. But it was in the trailer nonetheless. That wasn't like even a deleted scene. And we know that they put stuff in the trailers that's not going to end up there. It's not a big surprise to anybody. But that doesn't mean it's any less important. So I'm going to show one more from Scream 2, but it's only because it's going to directly correlate to going back to Scream 7 evidence. It's this guy.
Why are you even here, Randy? You'll never be the leading man. Fuck you!
You're never going to be the lead line. I'm kind of paraphrasing. That should seem familiar if you've seen 7, because during the interview between Gail and Sydney, out of kind of nowhere, they bring this up, the assumption that whoever it is was always the sidekick, never the lead. I mean, you could say that applies to Stu Macher. I don't really think so. I think it sounds more Randy. And then they repeat it again with it. Is that what you want, to be the lead? Now, again, you have this scene from Scream 2 where Randy is literally on the phone with the Ghostface, and the same lead comparison and the lack of him ever being it is directly, in conversation. You could not be a buyer on the lead theory I just proposed to you, and I couldn't hate you for it. But, I mean, remember that the whole point of this interview is to coax the Ghostface into calling. He's basically setting a trap. And in that sense, to me, it makes sense. I know none of them heard that conversation with Randy and Ghostface, but that's not the way movies work. The other characters don't have to. That's something I feel like was given to the audience. You pick up on it or you don't. Again, it's not something I'm dying on. But there was another line that was even more interesting from the interview. And it was basically when Sydney was starting to get upset when Gail was pressing her buttons, and she was speaking about Tatum, her best friend, not her daughter. And she says, she was the last friend I ever trusted. That's a really strange thing to say, considering, Randy, literally went to college with her. They didn't have any kind of riff or reason that they shown on screen, at least, or ever discussed, where there would be a reason for Sydney to not trust Randy. In fact, I thought that was probably the person that she confided in the most. So it's a really odd thing to say. And I mean, if you really want to get out there, it almost makes it seem as if, at least again, from my optic, does Sydney have some idea that is possibly Randy? Because that's two things that were mentioned that directly impact Randy. One, if you're going by the, lead conversation. But the other is, it's just cut and dry. Randy was her friend. Tatum died before Randy. And she said that she didn't trust Randy, essentially, with that comment. Might just be shitty writing. I don't think so. I grew up going to church in South Carolina in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And there's one thing I distinctly remember hearing all the time. And it was that, quote, The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing mankind that he didn't exist. Now, what I mean by that is, you're all looking this one way. You're worried about who's going to be the Ghostface in this one and who we should be worried about, because the previous 6 films have explained to you that there are context clues everywhere about this. And there were. And then there weren't. The 2 Ghostface at the end, it was pretty hollow with evidence. But all along, the devil has just been laughing in your motherfucking face, showing you all these callbacks and references to Randy. Oh yeah, here's a good one. If you go back to the opening scene, which I've talked about before, still not sold that that's actually something that happened. Talk about that in another video. But you got the chick from Landman that, yeah, somehow was all over the front of posters and kind of billed as, a big deal. And funny enough, she was on the Drew Barrymore show on February 11th. So just a little over 2 weeks before the movie was released, at least the fan screening.
Gotcha, didn't you?
But anyhow, there's a scene where her boyfriend and her are at this faux mocker house, in my opinion. And she answers the phone call in the kitchen, plays with the knife the same way that Jenna Ortega did, the same way Drew Barrymore did. And she says, "The creepy voice is kind of sexy." Well, guess who else said that?
Kind of a horror movie or something.
Randy, you gave yourself away. Are you calling from work? Because Tatum's on her way over.
Do you like scary movies, Sydney?
I like that thing you're doing with your voice, Randy. It's sexy.
Yeah, so again, we kick this movie off with callbacks to Randy. Let's keep going. And I'm going to have to roll this over to another video. Just a couple of little things to thump out there about Randy again, though, and I'll still probably talk about him a little more in the next video, which I plan on talking about who almost, not certainly, but if he has an accomplice, this is the person that makes the most sense, and I haven't heard anybody else say this, and I'm going to overload you with proof on it. But again, that's in the next video. But yeah, I mean, with Randy, there's just too much shit to ignore. The twins, what perfect henchmen for him. Again, they don't serve any purpose in this film. It would have been easy to just wash them off like they did Sam and Tara. They're here for a reason. And yeah, just a couple other lines. Again, back to the interview with, a little bitch. Well, this is probably a really deep dive. But that line, I thought the interview was chock full of Randy references. But the little bitch line, there's been this thing for decades now about how Randy got a line wrong in Scream 2. He corrected a guy dealing with aliens. It's the "stay away, get away, you bitch" line. The way "bitch" was accentuated, maybe not, but figured it was worth saying. Randy's guilty DNA is all over Scream 7. And it has been in previous films as well. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to comprehend that. And I'm genuinely baffled that people haven't. I'm the only one apparently that's saying this. But everyone's still fighting the good fight for Stu to be alive. If Stu can be alive, why can't Randy? Stu got a TV dropped on his head in front of our face. Randy is never harmed from the viewer's standpoint. He's shown through a van window, but not. You see a Ghostface, doing the psycho, stabbing motion. You don't see it, penetrating a body. But yeah, come check that one out. Horror Movie Rewind. I'm Dustin. Thanks for watching.